All right, good afternoon, everybody, or morning, depending on what time you're watching this. I am Danilo Evangelista, and welcome to our United States weather forecast and discussion for today, Tuesday, March 16th, 2021. A lot to go over because we do have some severe weather upcoming, and a lot of it coming soon. So those that are not aware of it, please keep and watch, and we will talk you through what to expect in this video discussion. All right, just to really quickly start off, what is going on though right now? It's nowcast. What is going on right now across the United States? Not much. We do have some warnings in effect, red flag warnings in effect through portions of New Mexico and Texas, and then we also have some winter storm watches in portions of Kansas and northern Texas. And then we also have some winter storm warnings in effect for portions of southeastern Colorado right now, where we do have a weather system that's moving through. And we're going to have a weather system that will move through across the United States and bring some pretty nasty weather to the southeast later on this week, specifically tomorrow and Thursday, where we'll be talking about severe weather potential, and today included. Not today will be left out. Today will be included in the severe weather as well, where we will have a weather system, an upper level low, moving through and allow for Gulf moisture to rise and mix with this upper level low and create instability for the southeast, where we could potentially see once again severe weather, some pretty significant tornadoes, and the chance for wind and hail, everything as you name it, to be there for severe weather upcoming today. Current temperatures across the United States, not looking too bad. Colder temperatures in the north, of course, with warmer temperatures in the south, particularly Florida, where we have many readings in the 70s, maybe some 80s out there. And also warmer temperatures across the southeast and south central United States, where we have temperatures across Louisiana, a reading there in the 70s. Temperatures into Texas, also in the 60s and 50s and 40s, it seems like, depending on how north you go, the colder the temperatures get. So, of course, that's how things work, really, usually. But temperatures generally in the north, we have Michigan, portions of northern Michigan, the northwest, temperature readings in the 20s and 30s, with temperature readings in the west as well, not just the northwest, but the general west coast of the United States. Also pretty cold today. Interesting that it's pretty cold along the west coast today, where we have temperature readings across the west coast, including portions of interior California, temperature readings in the 20s. So that is pretty interesting, to say the least, for current temperatures across the United States right now. All right, the main topic of this video discussion for today, severe weather. And as you could see by the Storm Prediction Center's headline, moderate risk for severe weather on Wednesday, tomorrow, 3/17. And where is this particularly? Across the southeast, including portions of Georgia, Mississippi, Alabama, Dixie Alley, as you call it. But we will have severe weather today. That is something to keep in mind of. We have a slight risk in effect for today across portions of Texas and Oklahoma and Kansas. The tornado risk is at a 5% today, so some tornado risk is there, but not extremely high. But we still can see tornadoes, because if you do actually equate this, 5% chance is a fairly decent shot at getting a tornado if you take this Storm Prediction Center scale and actually real life scale it to past events that we've had. A 5% chance is actually a decent chance for tornadoes today. Winds, we do have 15% across portions of Texas and Oklahoma. This means that we will have a fairly decent chance of getting some cells that will produce some pretty decent winds with them. And that's what we determine for severe weather. So we will have that, as well as hail. That actually looks like it could be significant today, where we could have a 10% chance or greater probability of 2-inch diameter hail, or within 20 miles per hour, 25 miles of this point. So we could see within this hatch area, what pretty much I read out to you, is a chance where we could see large hail which the criteria for large hail is 2 inches in diameter and larger. And so this is what this hatched area represents. And you notice that mainly encompasses portions of Oklahoma, some of Kansas, and northern sections, if you will, of Texas as well, where we could see some pretty large hail today. Um, through anywhere of that area that is significant, or that's the highest chance, if you will, of having that large hail in effect today. What about the day 2 outlook? Well, as you can see right off the bat, moderate risk, pretty high risk of severe weather across portions of Arkansas, Mississippi, and Alabama. The tornado risk, also significant. We have a hatched area for tornadoes, and that is representative of long-tracked, intense tornadoes or tornadoes intensity on the enhanced Fujita scale, EF2 and higher. Pretty much, if you're not familiar with this scale, it's pretty much a scale that measures the tornado's intensity by their damage that they've done, although there are estimated winds that go along with it as well. EF2 is pretty much a scale that's given to fairly decent damage that is done to houses, and they can sometimes be pretty significant tornadoes as well. And we do have a hatch chance for that potentially through portions of Arkansas, Mississippi, Alabama, and some of the bigger towns that are noted within this area: Memphis, Tennessee, Birmingham, Alabama, Montgomery, Alabama, Little Rock, Arkansas, Tuscaloosa, Alabama, all in this hatched area for potentially some pretty significant tornadic activity. And the area of population, if you look here at the Storm Prediction Center, 6 million people live in this area. So that's a pretty significant area to be affected by a very large incoming severe weather event. So please, if you're within this area and you're watching this video, please, you'll want to stay tuned to this channel, and you'll want to stay tuned to the severe weather that's about to come your way, because it looks like it's going to be pretty nasty. However, as I said, tornadoes are not the only risk. We have wind chance as well, 30%, that we could see some pretty decent cells that produce some very intense winds with them as well. That is a 30% chance given through portions of Alabama, Mississippi, and Arkansas primarily. Hail, that's also pretty significant as well, up to a 30% chance. And we also have that hatch chance, as I said, for 2 inches of diameter in hail and larger. That's where we have that chance for pretty significant hail. And right now that is given through primarily Arkansas and portions of southwestern Tennessee. Is it subject to change? Absolutely. So please, if you're within the 30% area, please keep in watch of the chance for hail that we have today. All right, what's going on with the satellite right now? Well, you can see that we have a lot of cloud cover across the United States. Where I am here in New York City, we actually do have cloud cover right now, and that's pretty noted on the satellite here along the East Coast, where we have a lot of cloud cover right now. This is associated with an upper level low over the central United States right now that's causing all of this cloud cover. Then we have some strong shear, which is being represented by the strong west to east movement that we have in these clouds across the southeast. And this is actually going to be a pretty important factor when it comes to the severe weather growth that we have for today. What is another factor that we're looking at that we have in place right now? And the lines that you see here is representative of what we call CAPE. And CAPE is energy. It's instability that goes into these severe weather events that we have. And the more CAPE you have, the more instability, the more energy for severe weather to occur. And that's what we have building up across the southeast right now, and it's only going to build up more. All right, now taking a look at the numerical models to see what's occurring. As you take a look at the analysis, once again, I've talked about this upper level low, which is pretty much a low pressure in the upper levels of the atmosphere. We saw that move by, and that is moving across portions of the northern United States right now, and that is providing some cloud cover to a good portion of the United States right now. You notice that we'll have this upper level low swing by and move through, and we have another one. This is a cutoff low. This is pretty much a low that's cut off from the rest of its environment, or at least that's how I like to determine it on the numerical models. This moves by, and with the winds, usually in an upper level low, here in the northern hemisphere, the winds rotate counterclockwise, right? So that means we have rising air and rising moisture coming in from the Gulf, into the southeast, and the upper level low behind it mixes with this moisture, creates instability, and creates energy for these storms to ignite. And you do notice how this upper level low does actually move across the southeast, causing severe weather for the southeast and also along the east coast. Keep in mind the Carolinas and South Carolina. Not sure if we have gone over that. They actually have a risk for severe weather on the day 3 outlook. As I'm talking about, as I'm saying, this will be a prolonged severe weather event to keep in mind of. So enhanced severe weather through um, Georgia and the Carolinas, slight risk extending through portions of Kentucky and West Virginia and portions of Virginia, and then a marginal risk surrounding that, stretching as far as central to South Florida, and then as north as Virginia and a little bit of the Midwest. So back to the numerical model, we do see this upper level low stick by, then it combines with a trough that then sits up along the east coast, and then that moves through. Then we have a ridge beginning to build across the United States, and this is what I believe this will move by. Then we have another upper level low set up. But the general point, what are we trying to get out here? Generally, we're going to have this upper level low that moves by, rising moisture from the Gulf, and this is not a good sign because this combines, and this ridge here, this kink, if you will, in the wind lines, this actually represents that rising moisture, that rising air from the Gulf, and this ridge here over the eastern United States actually does represent moisture and warm air that's setting up over the eastern United States, as well as this upper level low that moves through, combining with that warm air, allowing for instability and energy in the atmosphere to produce the severe weather event upcoming. The Cape levels, what about that? Well, we have this low pressure that does move through, and we do notice that Cape values through the Dixie Alley are thriving. We do have valleys across portions of Texas and Oklahoma as this low pressure moves through, values up to 2,000 joules per kilogram of Cape. So that's a lot of Cape in place for storms to take advantage of and eat off of, to fire up. We do also have that Cape moving into portions of Mississippi and Alabama. That is also there, also pretty present. We have values upwards of 1,000 joules per kilogram of Cape. So a lot of Cape, plenty enough Cape for energy for storms to use. And then this low pressure moves by, associated with that upper level lows we're talking about. This moves by. We have Cape stretching into the Carolinas. So energy, once again, as provided with this enhanced risk, energy moving into the Carolinas for storms to use. And as we have this low pressure move by, we have a line of storms that's set up from this that feed off of this energy. So we have severe weather events that do occur along with this as they do move through. And that low pressure moves out. We have the Cape that diminishes from this as well. And we see severe weather move out and not become as much of an issue, at least for the time being. All right, now I will take a look at one of these numerical models to see what are we exactly expecting. And we're going to go to the mesoscale section here. NAM 3 kilometer. What exactly are we expecting in terms of Cape for them? And the NAM 3 kilometer, this more or less does focus on mesoscale features, smaller features, and more specific features, if you will, in the atmosphere. And you do notice that they also have high values of Cape that move through, along with this low pressure, along the low pressure line. Some values in here, upwards of 2,000, maybe even 3,000 joules per kilogram of Cape. And then you notice as this low pressure moves by, that Cape does stretch into portions of Alabama, Mississippi, where we have widespread values of 2,000 joules per kilogram of Cape. And that's a lot of energy in the atmosphere, if you think about it, that is going into the severe weather event. It's going into storms for energy for storms and energy for storms to feed off of so they can blossom and become strong. That is what's being represented here. as the low pressure moves by, and we see the Cape levels also once again rise as we head into Thursday. We see the Cape levels once again rise into the Carolinas, which is once again signaling the energy that is there in the atmosphere for these storms to feed off of. So this is why we're looking at a pretty big severe weather event, because we have this upper level low that's moving by, and we have all this rising Gulf moisture. What is it going to do? It's going to cause instability. It's going to cause energy for intense storms, and the combination of these winds can also create tornadoes. As we do know, the basic severe weather principles, they all seem to be coming together here, which is why we're looking at a severe weather event across portions of the southeast upcoming in a very short period of time, actually. Later tonight into tomorrow is when we do expect these storms to fire up, and I'm actually going to show you them here with the precipitation and moisture with the radar, the simulated radar that the NAM 3 kilometer does actually provide for us. And you do notice once again, on the NAM 3 kilometer, we have those rain showers extending all the way into the Carolinas and across Alabama, Mississippi, all of the moisture that we have being collected right now in the atmosphere in the southeast. That does move by. Then as you do notice, as we head into the days on Wednesday, notice how these cells become a little more spread out. They become a little more separated and discrete, as we like to say. This is a signature, and this is usually very representative of intense severe weather, potentially, as we move into the day hours of tomorrow. And once again, discrete cells combined with moisture that's been given from the Cape. That is not a good mixture, and that does allow for some pretty significant severe weather as we have this line of storms that develops by hour 25. By the time we get into the late morning and early afternoon hours of tomorrow, you do notice how we start seeing a bunch of these discrete cells that begin to pop up through the southeast, and we have this low pressure that moves by and ignites a lot of these reds and purples that you see. These are all heavy rain showers and cells that develop on the NAM 3 kilometer model and move through into Alabama and portions of Mississippi. And then we see that line continue with that same low pressure. It continues into the Carolinas and Texas, as we still do have that Cape in place to allow for energy for these storms to get going. So really, you should expect these storms to really get going tomorrow afternoon into tomorrow evening. However, we actually could have, as represented here in the modeling, we actually could have a brief spin up of storms in the morning. So for those that are looking for the timing, we could have a brief outburst in the morning, maybe a little bit of a break. Then in the afternoon and evening, we really start to see a lot of these reds and oranges pop up, which represent heavy cells and strong cells potentially that move through to cause severe weather. And especially into the overnight hours, which that's a very big threat when it comes to tornadoes, because you can't see the tornado in the overnight hours. All you hear is the wind and the tornado warnings that go off, but you don't know where the tornado is. So that is a big threat for severe weather across the southeast, as we are looking at potentially severe weather to come in and come in pretty strong here, especially being represented by the Storm Prediction Center, where we have moderate risk in effect. So these are all things that we need to keep in watch and keep in mind. And once again, have your severe weather plans ready, because we are going through a pretty active period upcoming here. And you'll want to stay tuned to the channel. If you're new, please go ahead, subscribe, like, share this with family and friends, because we'll be needed, especially over the next couple of days, to keep on top of the severe weather. All right, another video discussion is coming this afternoon. So for those that want to know more about the severe weather, we will have another one coming later this afternoon around 5, 6, 7 o'clock when we do see a new update from the Storm Prediction Center. I will bring that to you, and I will let you know on the latest on what's going on with this potential severe weather event upcoming. All right, with that being said, I'm going to close it off for this discussion. Everybody have a great day and a great morning and a great afternoon. Stay safe, peace, love, and kindness to all, and we will talk again later this afternoon. Bye.
This is the dog.